myself in a very awkward place and in an awkward situation when lots of you started messaging me on my social media and asking me what I felt about demonetization. Oh, if you haven't joined me over there, then my Facebook handle is FreesiaB and Twitter as well as Instagram is just Freesia, F-R-E-I-S-H-I-A. Now, I would firstly love to hear from each and every one of you. I know the comment section is going to have a blast. Everyone in the tribe is very expressive and I love that. That's why I love you guys so much, because you all have such strong opinions about everything. So I know that we're going to have a blast having that conversation, but bear with me, make it through the entire video. First, just listen to what I have to say and then put your comments down. For once in my life, I felt like I can't really have an opinion. I mean, after all, how can I? I'm not an economist, and I also feel like I'm not really qualified too. Researching a topic and putting it together, yes, that is what I do on WAC. But in this case, especially when I was looking at all the millions of articles that are out there, I felt like everything that was being expressed was an opinion and not a fact. In life, and like in this situation as well, I felt like everything that you hear is an opinion and not a fact. And everything that you see is perspective and not the truth. And that's why this article that I will be throwing to right now, I really connected with it. I've also put the link to the article in the description below. It's by Charles Assisi. And if you have time, go through the entire article because I've only taken a small bit out of it. So he goes on to say that with much amusement, he has been observing everything that is going on around him. From the left wing, the right wing, the center, left of center, right of center, and so on, and especially on social media. Social media platforms today are this wonderful way of expressing yourself, and we have to remember that on these platforms there is no editor, there is nobody monitoring or controlling what is being expressed. And I think that there are a lot of opinions floating around on social media, some of which are enlightening and some of which are not. But in a problem like this, broadly speaking, there seem to be only two major perspectives. One, the demonetization is going to be good for our country, and yes, we have to just accept it along with some temporary pain. The second thing is that demonetization is a disaster. It was not thought through, and the worst affected are the poor. He also then goes on to talk about a very interesting theory, which is called as Theory U. Now bear with me. What that theory states is that everything that we know already is anchored in the past. So what if, just for one moment, we were to let go of all our learning and try and look at a problem that exists only from the perspective of the moment that we're in. In letting go of our past, we also let go of all our biases and prejudices. Engagement then starts taking place because all that you're doing is actually listening. And then it frees your mind to imagine what kind of possibilities could actually exist out there. A lot of us have forgotten the art of listening. Even me, guilty as charged. If I'm talking to somebody and I don't agree with what they're really saying, I suddenly just stop listening, right? I shut them out, and in my mind, all that I'm doing is thinking about my counter argument, or I just butt in. But Theory U insists that you shut up and you listen, but you listen with a quiet mind. I can't even imagine what it was like growing up like you, right? We're all brought up with different conditions and different kinds of circumstances. And the only way I can connect with your upbringing is if only I listen to your stories. If I don't listen, then how am I to even understand that there exists this other world out there with totally different possibilities? And there are people that actually live in that world with those possibilities. The second thing that the Theory U goes on to state is that it's very easy for us to have a conversation with like-minded people because we're both agreeing to exactly the same thing, but at the same time we're not exposing ourselves to new truths. We're backslapping each other, we're enjoying this conversation because we're both on the same side of the coin and we're very happy to ignore the other side. I want WAC to be that kind of place where an intelligent conversation is enjoyed. And in this case, I think I know enough to say I don't know. It's one of those things where time will tell. As more time goes by, the markets will tell us. This is that kind of answer that won't just come up on a particular day. We will have to live the answer out. But what I do know is that I want this to be a kind of place and space where all of us look out for each other. Then I know that my work is done. So I can't tell the future. I don't have that crystal ball. But what I can do is that I can reflect a little bit on the past. And when I was putting in a lot of research on this topic, one word kept cropping up, and that is Hawala. So here are a few interesting facts about Hawala and how it works. Hawala or Hiwala, which is the original word, which is an Arabic word, it means transfer or sometimes trust. Now Hawala is actually just like today's modern day banking. Instead of checks, you have a chit. So if I was to transfer my money to you sitting in London, I would deposit a check in your account. In the case of Hawala, the Hawaladar will give me a chit. That chit has a little secret code on it. You sitting in London, I will give you that secret code. You in turn will give that code to the person that will give you the money in London. As simple as that. Money has been transferred, it's not physically moved, the government has no idea what went on, and nobody paid any taxes. What we also need to understand is that Hawala actually came out of a space of innocence. It came out from a need or a want. In the 8th century, when a lot of the Arabic and Muslim traders were moving along the Silk Road, Hawala was used in such a way to transfer money so that they weren't getting robbed. But like everything that comes from a space of innocence, in the modern world, you will always have a corrupted version of it. So who uses Hawala? Terrorists to fund their activities, politicians, underworld drug lords and the mafia, but also these people. Migrant workers. Migrant workers for years have been sending small sums of money, but in really large numbers, to their families here in India. That is why at one point Kerala was even known as the Hawala capital of India. But this word black money, right? As the word black goes, it always brings a very negative connotation to your mind. And we associate it with it being evil and greed. But in the case of migrant workers, I think it also comes just from the lack of education or trying to avoid unnecessarily complicated banking systems, which today I know that banks have really simplified. But who really loves Hawala? This man. He is actually known as the world's biggest money launderer. At one point, he was laundering $2.2 billion. That's roughly 14,000 crore rupees per day. Per day, he was dealing in that kind of money. As recently as April 2016, they arrested him, and at that point, police from all over the world were trying to trace him, and they found him right here in India. With numbers like this, you can't help not ask how much black money really is out there. Your guess is as good as mine. So a few of the reports that I did find, it gives you like a vague idea of what kind of numbers we're dealing with. India ships about 10% of the billions that gets illegally moved in developing and emerging nations. This is a report that was from 2003 to 2012, and bang in the center in 2006, they're estimating that 991 billion got moved, out of which India is illegally moving 1/10 of that amount. They are estimating that there's roughly about $1,500 billion in Indian personal accounts in foreign banks around the world. $1,500 billion, that's actually double the amount of our country's foreign debt. Now imagine, if all that money were to come home, our country, our nation would be debt-free. Now we all know that the wealth in this world is not distributed equally. It can't be. For years and centuries since man has been around, that concept has never been true. But if we have to take a look at all the money that exists in the world, and this report actually went and did it, they calculated everybody's assets. If you put that all together, then it comes to, first, let me just give you an idea as to what a trillion looks like, yeah? A trillion is that many zeros. So then, if you took all the wealth in the world and you put it together, it comes to $257 trillion. if this wealth had to be equally divided amongst each and every person that walks on this earth, then every person would get roughly $52,000. But in reality, it's not. The richest 10%, they control 89% of all the wealth that exists in the world. And in India, it gets even worse because the top 1%, they control 60% of all the wealth that exists here in India. All that it means is that the rich are getting richer and the poor, they're staying just right there. There's absolutely no improvement when it comes to their share of wealth. India today, as per the 2016 report, has 1,78,000 millionaires. And if you compare that to the number of millionaires that exist in the world, it means that we have a 0.5% share of all the wealth holders of this world. So to wrap it up, I think that this is a subject that's going to be a matter of debate for a very long time. India is going to go down in history whether demonetization worked for us or not. But I also think that there's a lot of awareness that can be spread that is in this video. So do share it if you liked it on your various social media platforms. Like it at the same time as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe and help increase the tribe. I'll catch you again soon. Ciao.